Hey, my name's Eric, and this is how I live with ADHD as an adult. But first, what is ADHD? ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder, which means it's a condition that affects the development of certain aspects of one's nervous system. So there are two types of ADHD. The first being the inattentive type, which can be characterized with these symptoms. And then there's also the hyperactive type, which can be characterized with these symptoms. I'm going to be talking about mostly that first one because that's what I'm diagnosed with. So what kinds of strategies do I use throughout my day to make sure what needs to be done gets done? Spoiler alert, we're going to look at automations that help start my day and my tasks, setting up a support system, and ways to maintain my focus in the middle of my projects. Hey Google, turn off the alarm.
Alright, I'm stopping any alarms and timers that are ringing on your smart home devices.
Lights out, I'm your favorite. Too many ways, been in your place, there's delays. Added up, plus sign, zeros on the table. Driving and vibing, bring the beat later. Wanna make it bigger, just a little bit of flavor showing up to my space, I'm a fashion dealer. I'm your biggest bidder, meet me in the middle. I just don't wanna settle.
So aside from the automations that I use for my morning routine, I also use a bunch of automations for my work. Now, because of the nature of my work, I can't show you some of the exact automations that I use, but I can show you what powers them, as well as some examples. So if you take a look over here, you'll see that I'm using Alfred for Mac. This is a Mac-only app for now. Sorry, Windows users, but Alfred allows you to create automations that can understand inputs like keyboard shortcuts or typing out keywords, and can let you control certain aspects of your computer as outputs. So if we open up Alfred right now, you'll see that I have a workflow here called div, and this allows me to move windows across my screen using keyboard shortcuts. So for example, I can move windows to the right, I can move them to the left, I can maximize them. So that's pretty cool. Alfred also has a system-wide search feature similar to the Spotlight search that is native to Macs, but it's a lot more configurable. So for example, let's say I wanted to open my downloads folder. I can use Spotlight search and start typing out downloads, and eventually with enough letters typed, Mac will understand that I'm looking for the downloads folder. But I can do this a lot faster with Alfred. So I've configured it to understand that the letters DL indicate my intent to open the downloads folder. Finally, I want to talk about Alfred's ability to run custom scripts. So if you know how to program or script, this will open up a whole new playing field that'll let you take even more control of your computer. So for example, in my line of work, something that I do a lot throughout the day is download a very specific type of file and open it in an internal viewer app. So what I've done here is I've configured a keyboard shortcut to scan my downloads folder for the latest instance of one of those files, and asks me if I want to open it in that internal app I mentioned. This is where I was 4 years ago when I decided I needed some help. I was having such a hard time keeping up at work. I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean, and I just wasn't feeling like myself. It was here where I made the decision to seek out therapy. I didn't know what for at the time, but I knew I needed it for something. But before I made the call, I was scared. Scared of admitting that there was something wrong with me, or feeling like I could be considered less than others. So that was 2 years ago now, and I never really went through with that phone call because of those fears. So it took another 2 years and a job change to realize that time and changing jobs wasn't going to solve everything. So at the end of last year, I finally took that step and scheduled my first session with a therapist. And I gotta tell you, that phone call was the most important phone call I could have made in my life at that point. And on that note, I actually have a session right now, so give me one moment. what I've been working on since I've learned that I have ADHD, and it's still a work in progress, so some of those things might change, some of them might not. Kind of like life, I guess. But in any case, I hope that you learned something from this video or found it entertaining, just got something out of it in general. And for anyone who has ADHD, is there anything that you do that you think might help others? Let us know. And for everyone who's watching, take care. I'll see you in the next one.
Lights out, I'm your favorite. Too many ways, been in your place, there's delays.